The new shorts are intended to reintroduce players to the characters of Mortal Kombat. You know, this is a Mortal Kombat reboot from our standpoint.
It is telling the origin stories of some of the most iconic characters in the video game and making it work in a live-action format. Here we go!
Mortal Kombat's always been a little bit more flashy, over the top, and this is kind of like a new envisioning of Mortal Kombat from a more somber, dark universe.
All of these stories are just a glimpse into the beginnings of a bigger story. It's getting them to the point where the journey actually really begins, is where our shorts take place. You're here, right? On action, you just get up and walk away.
Kevin's approach is based in what is a version of the story that could be real life today.
You know, this is pretty out there. These are some characters that are, you know, it's otherworldly, and the whole battle is otherworldly, and he makes you buy it.
It's a completely alternate reality. It's definitely hyper-realistic, but it does have grounded elements that make us familiar with our reality, which allows you to include some of the hyper-realism into it and not make it feel like you're just doing some big, gigantic fantasy.
What if I could offer you, Mr. Cage, a way out of everything?
I have kind of like a sheet of ingredients that I know have made Mortal Kombat what it is, and then try and find relatable aspects of how to tell that story in a unique way.
Fighting games in particular aren't known for having a deep story. Mortal Kombat is known for the opposite. It has a very deep story.
These characters are all going on this journey to get them to enter the Mortal Kombat tournament. And why are they doing this? Who do they love? Why are they seeking vengeance? All of those emotions need to come out in a concise story.
If you didn't know anything about Mortal Kombat, you would still be able to get a sense that it's driven from emotion.
We all relate to the same things. We all relate to love and vengeance and betrayal and hurt.
Finally, when you hit this mark, all right, you notice that, okay? I love seeing those types of revenge tales where it's not about something selfish. It's all coming from a very human response. And that's why those types of stories resonate forever, because you can understand what that would feel like.
Shao Kahn is my father.
No, that is a lie. You are...
The video game mythology is there to serve a very specific purpose, and that kind of narrative is different when you're telling a cinematic story.
We read the script. Some of them were really out there. You know, the Raiden one was really out there.
Raiden. Raiden, are you okay?
And some of them were sticking a little bit closer towards the actual story that we wrote.
As a result of your loyalty, Edenia stands unencumbered, and with your help, will remain so for all time.
You have to take the broad strokes of all of the key ingredients and tell it in somewhat of a different way, but without disrespecting what has already been ingrained in the franchise's soul.
The restraints that we had were basically to keep it in the Mortal Kombat universe, you know. We definitely needed the kills, the graphic nature, and to adhere to the mythology as much as we could. But then we also had some creative freedom to tell the story in a unique way that, you know, the viewers may not have expected.
After 3 months of therapy, the patient maintains he is Lord Raiden, the god of thunder and protector of Earth.
The one that really kind of stayed close to my heart was the Raiden episode. You know, that was something that I really enjoyed shooting. I really enjoyed seeing the response, because it's very split. People hate it, or people absolutely love it. And I thought that was an episode that expanded the universe to other dimensions, kind of thing. It's like a completely different universe. It says, don't make me do this again. Make sure you take a moment, look up at them, and then leave. Okay.
That was one of the first ones. He was able to give a bit of his world of what he would do if he was given a little leeway, but yet keep the fans in that zone too. Well, hey, what can we expect from Raiden that we know already, along with his unique vision and I know it was a challenge, but I think he pulled it off real well.
And then I want to end with the low angle wide of him walking with the conical hat on. Yeah. I feel like Legacy is its own universe. That's the great thing about Mortal Kombat, is that it's become one of those titles that can take on various forms of design. And because the universe is so big, you can take on various forms of storytelling and tones. And that's why I feel like Mortal Kombat is really cool, is because you can take those characters and put them in different situations and people are still interested.
We had amazing sets. I mean, they picked some really just cool, very evocative locations, so they looked great when you're there live.
And go ahead, Peter, and run, look up at the crane! Each piece is gonna have subtle differences in lighting and color. As far as framing and camera movement, I am more a fan of composed images as opposed to just handheld and capturing with 5 different cameras and then letting the edit bring the piece together. There you go. I always like the really kind of steady, cameras on the dolly, jib shots and wider shots and longer takes. Right there. And not MTV style kind of cutting. I just prefer to do mine with the very kind of clean frame to frame style. Cut, great, we got it. Let's do the next shot.
The pace that we actually shot the web series with was very, very quick. It was high paced. Everything moved extremely quickly.
We shot 9 episodes in 18 days. So, with the feature film, you got a longer shoot schedule.
I look to strike a boom, boom.
That's it.
Okay.
And then we'll cut. The amount of production design that went into creating something that was a web series was top notch. And because we're at 120 frames, you don't have to hold that as long. It can be,
The amount of action that he got into this, the amount of production values that are into this, it's incredible what they've done. The biggest difference, I think, it was the prep. It's very short. So you don't have a lot of time for a lot of backstory in the characters before you get there. You don't have a lot of time for the fight training.
Legacy was a combination of so many stories. Yes, the quality was there. Yes, so much hard work was put into it, from post to tweaking to doing so many small things. It felt like a feature film.
Look around a couple of times. Yeah. And I want you to look kind of up and to the left, like you're looking at a castle, and that's where you're about to go take over. Here we go.
We originally, I think, had 10 stories, and none of them were two-parters. But then we had to back off in pre-production and basically look at what we realistically could do in this time frame and keep it at a certain quality.
I think people really appreciated that we made it more character-driven. And the fact that it's an anthology is that you can do different styles and different tones for every single episode. I think they like the variety. Those are the marks, so now let's walk it with City.
I'd like to see this franchise go into films. I'd like to show what a darker Mortal Kombat can be. It's almost blending horror and sci-fi and martial arts action. So, my goodness, we haven't seen anything like that.
I think the full vision definitely has to be a feature. We had to restrict ourselves from going that far in the web series just simply because of time and money. With that said, I think everyone went far and beyond in the production because they were completely invested. And that went across the board. Everyone there wasn't just doing a job. They were all artists who wanted to make a really good story. You complain while you're doing it, but people will ask you to do it again.